Van Vuklis from the Conscious CEO. Welcome to another episode of the Think Tank podcast. Today I have a guest expert on with me, Joel Lord from JK Connect, who actually helps business owners by pushing the envelope of value proposition with any unwavering entrepreneurial zest and enthusiasm that is both infectious as well as, yes, positive. Joel is passionate about business and has successfully built several companies from scratch, taken others from bankrupt to multi-million dollars in sales, owned them for over 10 years and grown revenues through the 10 million per year barrier. As an entrepreneur, speaker, business coach, husband, and father of three of awesome kids, he paves the way to master the science of achievement and the art of fulfillment while taking others on the journey with them along the way. In this interview, we'll be discussing various different topics around money specifically and how to be able to really shift your programs in order to get the most out of it. So I will bring him on and we'll get started. Welcome, Joel.
Hey, Maria. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks. How are you?
Excellent, thank you. It's always great to speak to you.
Thank you. Welcome to today's episode. I'm really looking forward to having a really great chat with you in regards to business, money, and various other aspects. So tell us a little bit about yourself if I haven't already covered that in the intro.
Well, Maria, did you know the average age of a lifespan of a human being is 80 years? And we spend 28 years of those sleeping. And if you're in business, you might be spending 7 of those years lying in bed at night worrying. When you subtract out the 7 years of watching TV or scrolling the internet, 11 years working a job, 4 years driving, wow. And when you take out the years that you spend eating, dressing, and doing other mundane tasks, you're only left with 8 years to live your life.
Wow.
Now, if I was to say to you, Maria, you only have a lifespan of 8 years, what would that do to your, your expectations? What would you do differently? Would that make you more eager to fit more in?
Absolutely. Yep.
Well, listen, we all get the same 86,400 seconds a day. And in these 14,400 minutes a day, there's these micro decisions that we make in these precious moments that really decide the sort of life we live, and it's my fear to, get to the end of my life and actually have regret and think that, geez, I wished I'd made that decision to work in that business. I wished I'd made that decision to maybe work less or have a different strategy, or, just to really realize that time is up and you let someone else's opinion prevent you from going all in and having that masterpiece life. And I'm a massive believer that as an entrepreneur, that word gets thrown around a lot, or a business owner before that word was even real. I was around then, and, your business is here to create a lifestyle for you. And I see so many business owners, get in wanting more time, money, freedom. And all they end up doing is working an 80-hour week to avoid working a 40-hour job. Mm. And, I see good people making mistakes and things that I've made. Man, I've made some mistakes in my time. And it's just a really passion of mine to make sure as many people as I can get out the other side without making those mistakes, because we've all heard the crazy statistics, that 81% of businesses fail in the first 5 years, and by the Australian Bureau of Statistics, it says that there's 2.2 million businesses in Australia. And, that means in the next 5 years, 1.8 million businesses are going to cease to exist. And that's just a disaster. That's good people paying wages to families and, people rely on their jobs and their businesses to pay their mortgages, to go on holidays, to experience life. And, just through the lack of some knowledge and, being in the right place at the right time, like I was, maybe, getting a bit lucky to be one of the ones that got through and made it through the decade plus. If they could learn something from something I've done incorrectly, they could, and benefit from it, like I'm all for it. So, I spent so much time putting everything off until later. Like I say to my wife, like, hey, look, we'll just work really hard now. And what it doesn't say in my amazing introduction is that there was a point in time where after I'd built all that, I was financially destroyed and I had to start again. And I ended up working at a garbage tip. I ended up in holes in a paddock where cows used to be to put in electricity for new subdevelopments and stuff like that, where new housing was getting put in, and it was disgusting. And it was, I had to eat a fair bit of humble pie to get back. But I was fortunate to be around a good group of people that helped me get there. So, and I've come out the other side, and I'm just so passionate about helping businesses that want to have that time, money, freedom, and be a business owner, not an operator. So I don't know. Hopefully that's answered your question.
Thanks for that. That's fantastic. And I love how you opened up with, specifically around time, because time is, it's something that we cannot get back. So being able to prevent us from setting ourselves back, or to be able to accelerate the results, to shorten the length of time in potentially getting what you want, is definitely something like someone such as yourself that's already been through all that you have. And then you have all these things that happen to people that shapes them to be able to assist others in doing the same thing. So yeah, amazing. So tell me, Joel, why are some people actually struggling in business and there are others that are actually succeeding in business, especially during these times that are happening right now?
That's a great question. And it can be pretty, it can be an individual's case by case scenario. There can be many reasons, like, generalizing in a bit, like some people, you tend to do what you love doing in your business, right? Yeah. So if you're someone who loves doing the books, your books are going to be great. If you don't like doing your books are probably going to be terrible if you haven't got the right help. And I guess, it could be stuff like that. It could be, the fact that, when things change, being able to pivot, being able to, not be so set in your ways that you just want to keep, I guess, flogging the dead horse, you know what I mean? So one thing I learned from Tony Robbins was that the days of a business plan are over. What you need is a business map. And what I mean by that is, think about Google Maps. If you are going from a destination, or going towards a destination from where you are now, and there's happens to be a roadworks on the road, when you get close enough, Google Maps is going to pivot and change the way you go so you can avoid that traffic holdup. And that's really what people need to be able to do in business to avoid the struggle. And look, there's always going to be the proverbial black swan, the thing that you just didn't see coming. And like you can see in the challenging times now, it's more widespread. But this stuff happens all the time. Like it's just happening to more people because it's more like what is actually going on now. There's a big change happening right now. So to keep this evergreen, like there's going to be times where individuals are going through stuff that they never saw coming. So no matter how prepared you are, how ready to pivot you are, there's always going to be something that comes from blindsides you, right? And it's just your ability to be able to adapt is what is going to keep you going right now. So I guess that's the generalized version. And I guess on a smaller scale, it's like your ability to handle the uncertainty of growing your business is another thing. Some people let like their ego get in the road. Like the CEO is usually, when you're going from that, that $100,000 mark to scale to, over 500,000 and beyond, it's the CEO not letting go
Mm.
There was a point in time where I had to do everything, and I was working 80-hour weeks in my supermarkets because I couldn't possibly trust anyone enough to do the safe at night and count the money. I couldn't trust anyone to do the ordering as well as I could. Couldn't trust anyone to do, the other stuff that needed to be done. And one day I just realized that, holy crap, for me to scale this anymore, there's going to need to be two of me, or I'm going to have to just trust someone, to, and what I found was when I stopped the ego side of it, and I didn't know anything about all this stuff back in those days. Like, I just was working hard. I thought that if I want something done properly, I'll do it myself.
Yeah.
So, and when you're coming from humble beginnings and you got to scrap and scrape, you really feel like you can't trust anyone, because if you're going to go down, you want to go down because of a mistake you made. It's kind of an individual sport. But what I did, what you've got to do is you got to realize that often it's the CEO that's the bottleneck. It's the person in charge that's the bottleneck. Now, whether you're a one-person consulting firm or you've got 65 plus staff like I did, you've always just got to check your ego at the door and see if, is there someone who's better at marketing than me? Or maybe they should be doing it. Is there someone that could, do the book work equal or better than me? Most of the time it's better. And allow me to get back in my zone of genius. Let me do what I do best. Like, if we're talking coaches, look at Tony Robbins. He's not doing the sales calls. He's not running the sales team. You know what I mean? Grant Cardone and those kind of people are running their business from their zone of genius. They've learned the way to scale is to hire people. So I guess, yeah, like, have you got any other specific things you found? Like, what have you found in your travels that,
yeah. So I love how you said, adaptability, because whether you're a one-man show or whether or not you are, you've got a team of people, adapting is a key factor in terms of building a business, because as you know, in the world of business, there is nothing that's always certain day in, day out. There's always constant changes, whether it be environment, whether it be economic, whether it be with staff, with self development, knowing how to adapt, not only with outsourcing materials, but also with thinking as well. So and I think the most successful business people that do succeed are the ones that are able to be most adaptable with their thinking, in knowing how to constantly shift things in order to get to where they want.
Yeah. And look, the businesses that are going to struggle now are the same as the people that are struggling now. If they're spending 95% of their time looking at the problem, like, you don't need to do that. You know what the problem is. If your problem is that you have got no money coming in the doors, then you need to spend 95% of your time looking at the solution. Something that I like, and 5% of the time on the problem. You don't need to keep checking in on the problem. You don't need to keep checking in on your expenses. You know what they are. It's time to go out and go out and get paid. You know what I mean? Get some money in. And people might be saying, well, I'm bricks and mortar and things have changed. I can't open the doors at the moment. Well, look, there's expertise that you have. Yeah. There's things that you could do. You could transform your business. Maybe this is the solution, and like something I heard Andy Priscilla say, he mentioned, like, he's got business owners that he speaks to, and they're really stressed. And he's just asked them, well, what can you learn from this? What can you learn from this? Like, and people are saying nothing, blah, blah, blah. And he keeps pressing, and they end up getting to the point where they say, well, maybe I should have had more cash in the bank. Maybe I should have had, I should have focused more on my online marketing. Maybe I should have done this. So, like, if we could use this to get this situation now to get better, a brilliant question is, what if you plan your business as if this kind of thing was going to happen every year?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like that's power. And, I guess for me, a great thing that helped me, because like I wanted to be a risk taker, because like it was like building my business back, and I went to, and I had the opportunity to take some more risk and go in a bit deeper. And one of my mentors, he said, look, Joel, one of the things that I've always found that helped me sleep at night was having a decent sized buffer zone between you and being broke. So what he meant was, maybe don't spend that cash on that amazing investment until you've got more cash. So a mistake I see so many business owners making is they think their business is an ATM, and it's just not. It's a rich person that buys you an amazing lifestyle, but if you treat it badly, it's going to go away. And I've been in competition with people that have come in and bought stores again, like in competition with me, who didn't understand that. And I buried every single one of them. And I had a worse store than they did. But I was just so frugal is the word. And I just reinvested so much cash back into it. And I wasn't buying flash cars. I wasn't spending beyond my means. I was doing all that stuff. So I guess that's, my answer to the question.
Great. So can you explain how we are actually in abundance of opportunities with money to make money right now? Because there are, a number of people or business owners out there that have either shut shop or their cash flow, they're struggling with cash flow. But what they're not seeing is that there are other opportunities to make money elsewhere in some other way, and there is an abundance in being able to do that. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, Maria, like what I love about this is when things are great, there's not really that many problems, right? And would you agree, as entrepreneurs, it's our job to solve problems? Isn't that how we make money?
Absolutely.
Like, aren't we all designed to solve? Like, that's like the only reason why I had a supermarket was I was solving the problem of people having to drive all the way into town to get food, or, to be hungry on a higher stakes. Like I'm solving problems. Where do they get their milk from? Where do they get their bread from? I'm solving a problem. As a consultant, yourself, and you help businesses. Like, you're solving a problem. You're actually that's what you do. So wouldn't you want there to be more problems out there? Like, what if you, with your cash flow in your business was, being a problem? What if you worked out a way to solve that? You could actually teach other business owners how to solve that problem themselves, and they would pay you anything to help for that help, because they don't want to go broke. The alternative's horrible. You know what I mean? Like, look, on a smaller scale, there's plenty of people that have been on Facebook. I know myself have been, offered these amazing opportunities in, affiliate marketing, network marketing, you name it. There's like all these different strategies that are out there, like we've all seen them, right?
There's an abundance of them.
Yeah. Maybe it's time to take a closer look, because from where I'm sitting, when I'm looking at those people, a lot of them are doing pretty well now. Not all of them, but it's, that's what I'm seeing. So there are so many opportunities out there. There's people out there struggling with homeschooling. I see it all the time. Well, if you're not struggling with homeschooling, wouldn't that be an idea that you could even do some content around that, and maybe even, consult for people how to do that properly? Because I'm seeing some people are doing it really well. Some people are like panicking. So if you take that pain away from people and solve that problem, you can make money, and it could be a new career. This could be a new beginning. Like, Maria, my story, right?
Yeah.
5 years ago, when my financial disaster happened, I was beat. I was like, I didn't think I'd ever give up, and I was like, I was done. And what happened was I went to a Tony Robbins event, and he came out and said, those of you that have been through tough times or are going through them now and you feel like it's the end, my question is to you, is it really the end, or is it just the universe making room for something even better? Like, is it a new beginning? And like, that was the thing that actually got me out of my massive funk that I was having. And it's actually prepared me for now. Like, so I got my dose of what many people are going through now. I got mine 5 years ago. So it's fresh enough in my mind to remember that. So like that, like where's your new beginning? If you're struggling, like, where's the opportunity? Go looking for it, and don't get sold the rot that, seizing opportunity now is the wrong thing to do. Don't let anyone put that in your head, because if you've got integrity and you're physically helping someone better themselves in this time of need, you're actually a worse person if you don't do it. You actually need to sell them that. You need to help these people out. So get out there. People need your help now more than ever, and that means there's more opportunity, because unfortunately, the facts are there's more pain. So there's more opportunity.
Yeah, and I think also to add to that, it wouldn't really matter if you're a bricks and mortar business or an online business. There is still plenty of opportunity to create more money. Even if you decide to, like, for example, let's say I was talking to a beauty therapist the other day and they've shut shop. They can't actually be able to run their business, but now they're selling products and doing masterclasses online and still being able to create an income. So I think the most important thing here is knowing how to think laterally in figuring out what are other examples of making money within my business right now, or even any time outside of what's happening right now, I think is definitely important to keep in mind.
Yeah, look, I was speaking to a friend of a friend, and they were a music teacher. So not one at school, they were one that after school, and they, people would come around to their house and she would teach them how to play the piano, guitar, and everything like that. And she was struggling. She was nearly about to lose a house. She was struggling that much. And because what's going on now prevented people from coming around to her house, she thought she was worse off. So what she did is she took her business online, which allowed her to do music lessons to people all across the country. So
Beautiful.
She now has more work than she's ever had. She's making more money than she's ever had. And she's actually looking like she can't take any more work on. She's got people from all around the country because she just made that switch. I've seen this, like we've seen it in the fitness industry. We've seen it in, it doesn't matter. Like, whatever if you're in a business, chances are you have skills that are useful for people. You know what I mean? If I was still running the supermarkets, and look, I know they're open still, but if they were one of the ones that had to close, my skills in business would be more valuable while I'm closed than because everyone else is closed too. So that's like, I don't know about you, but like things have like even picked up for me. And it's, because there's more problems and people are turning to certainty, and people like yourself, Maria, who've still got that level of calm and certainty, and, going crazy or anything like that, like I see a fair few people doing, unfortunately. They're looking for that certainty and that leadership. So just step up. There's so much out there. Just go for it. You just got to look for it.
Amazing. Thanks, Joel. So tell me, Joel, what are some examples, easy examples, to also something like a method in terms of how to use and make money? Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, that's a great question. And this is something that whether you got a business or not, whether you have a business or not, is super important. What I use is something I learned from Grant Cardone, and he teaches a method called the 40-40-20. So as your income comes through the door and into your bank account, the trick is to divide into 40%, 40%, 20%. So 40% becomes like your investment account, your investment money, the money that you never, ever, ever touch. You don't pay rent with it. You don't, like, it's literally paying yourself first. You have got that. The only time you touch that money is if you're going to buy an asset that's going to bring in more money.
Yeah.
So like that's what the first 40% is. The second 40% is divided up for your business, right? So it's for paying tax, running costs of doing business, all that kind of stuff, phone, petrol, if your accountant says that's where it's meant to go. And the 20% is what you put in for yourself. That's like your living expenses, your food, your, all that kind of stuff that, and people think, wow, I don't earn enough money to make that 20% big enough to live off. Well, I really challenge that in two ways. There's people around the planet that are living on far less than that, no matter what. And I don't even need to know what you're earning to know that there are people out there doing that. And I'm not saying that it's comparable to a T. But, there was a time before income creep happened for you that you used to be a teenager and you used to, scrape your dollars and cents together to go down and buy some beers or whatever it is that you did, So you could go back to that and not be fancy. Don't keep up with the Joneses. Like, just literally, people laugh at me, right? When they come to my house, they go, "Where's your couch?" I say, "I don't have one. I don't have a lounge. I literally do not have a lounge." And people go, "Wow, well, what do you sit on?" Well, I like doing stuff. And then I facetiously could say back, "Well, where's your trip to New York?" Because I just I allocate my assets in a different way to people. Like, I don't need to get fancy and go out to dinner all the time. I don't need to do that. And I don't say don't live, but that you're going to be really happy when you hear what I've got to say about the next bit. So the second part I'm going to challenge is if you don't want to lower your standard of living, then make more money. It's that simple. If the money is like on this planet at the moment, they're printing it like hand over fist. Like, they can't print it fast enough. And when I say print it, they're adding digits to the accounts of all the major countries, right? And they've been doing that for a long time, which means there's more money than there's ever been in the history of the planet. So the way I like to use it as an analogy is like, if I pulled up a tanker, like a fuel tanker, and I went and backed it up to the ocean, and I took out 10 million liters out of the ocean, and I drove off into the night, the people that are going to put their boats in the water down at the boat ramp the next day aren't going to go, "Oh, well, I noticed the sea levels dropped a bit. Like, someone must have taken 2 million liters out, right?" It's not. They're not going to notice it. Like, it's so abundant and so vast that if you went out and took $10 million out of the economy, it is not even going to notice that you did it. No one is going to go without because you took your $10 million that that is designed for you. In fact, if you divided up the world's income currently between everyone on the planet, we'd all have $10 million.
Wow.
It's just the fact of within 5 or 10 years, the rich people will have all that money again, because the poorer people will squander it, and they don't have the stripes yet to learn how to manage it properly. So why do I say this? What's this strategy that I'm talking about? Right. If you could just save $400 a week and put it aside using the 40-40-20, so you've only got to be earning $1,000, and you can do that, work in a second job, you can do whatever you want to do. It doesn't need to be just business. You could take on a few more clients. If you're working with Maria, she can show you how to get some more clients and how to earn more money. So, like, she's the girl to ask. And, if you could put $400 away every week and you just got 8% on that, well, let's just think within 12 months, for example, even with no interest, you're going to have $20,800. So would you like an extra $20,800 in your bank account? Well, yes. In 5 years of doing that, you'll have $104,000. Just doing the maths in my head. You have about that in your bank account, right? If you can do that for 25 years, making 8%, which 8% is not tough to do in an investment situation, you can do far better than that. Like, realistically, you could put that in an index fund, and make that happen over the long term. If you do that and you start with 105,000, you do it for 25 years, and you make 8%, you're going to have about $2.4 million cash in the bank.
Wow.
Like, would you save $400 when you really think about that? And you don't take my word for it. Go and Google compound interest calculator and go play with the numbers and just see what tiny amount of money you need to put aside. Like, I saw another guy say it a different way the other day. He said, if you put $8 away for $8 a day away, make it's a small amount. Like, I think it's about 8% as well. And you do it for 35 years, you will make just under $1 million. So, like, that's crazy. Like anybody can do that. That takes the luck out of it. You just got to have the discipline to do it. And that's why you don't need to be smart or lucky or born into a good family to make this happen. So let's tie this into your business. Well, if you have a strategy that before you even buy the business, or maybe you've got it already, that is part of your plan, that you're going to start putting $400 away for the next 25 years. That's your plan. And let's just hope that the businesses like you're mentioning before, that a lot of your business owners are scaling to $500,000 and beyond. Well, $400 a week is not is not that big a deal for them. So if they could push that away, and that's what I'm saying, like instead of being fancy or, keeping up with the Joneses, blow the Joneses out of the water. Just do it in 25 years, like invest that money, and then that could go into property, and then that, and where it gets crazy, I get so pumped about this stuff, is you're making the money, right, to put that $400 away, but that column starts going out and doing its own 40, 40, 20. So then it's sort of double scaling. It like backs back in on itself, and then it just goes crazy.
Wow.
So that's why it's important to do. And they don't teach us in schools. When I do my events and I told people that they could save 10% of their money, and this is what it would do. And some people don't even know that they're allowed to do that. They just think that they've got to pay all their bills first. They've got to do all this, and they're literally one step behind every week. Like what's happening now? Did you know that 50% of Australians didn't have even like 2 weeks worth of money saved up? They can't even last 2 weeks.
Yeah, right. Wow.
And we can see that when all the stuff happened, how long did it take those Centrelink lines to get kilometers long? They're all the people that didn't have any savings. So protect yourself from this. So yeah, that's a strategy I would use, and use it for your business and for your personal side too. And you'll be so happy when you're older, because it gets back to that regret. When you there's people out there that are worried that they're going to outlive their money. Like they think they're guessing when they're going to die, and that's how they spend their money. And then if they get past a certain age, they're like, oh, damn, I'm living past my money, Like I saw it, like this is a good one for you, Maria, like being a successful woman. Did you know that 1 out of 8 women in Australia over the age of 65 are homeless?
Wow. That's terrible.
Like I saw that, and it's, oh my God. And it just gets back to, if you knew that was on the horizon and a possibility for you, would you be frightened to start that business? Would you be frightened to take that opportunity? Would you be frightened to ask for that promotion? Would you be frightened to just take that chance? Like far out. Like that's what drives me. Like I know it's a bit of an away from value, but it's also from inspiration, so. Yeah.
And I think that's also looking at it from a different perspective rather than just looking at it from what's happening right now. That's, so it puts you into forward thinking to start doing something about it now.
Absolutely. Well, you still got time. And look, if you think the government's going to save you, or you think that your superannuation is going to save you, that would be plan F for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like that's just a worst case scenario for me. If I've got to live on the pension, and that's a possibility for me, and for most people, I could make the biggest error in my business that known demand and be completely broke at the 11th hour, like when I'm 70 or whatever, and stuff it all up and I'm on the pension. It's a fact.
Yeah.
It could happen. But it's far out. I just I'm going to do everything I can do to hedge against that happening. So yeah, that's what I reckon people should be doing.
So can you tell me where are businesses actually falling short in, times such as these that are happening, which is an economic turn down is occurring?
Yeah, I think it's in the same place that that businesses are failing in the good times. So it's easy to go ahead and be looking and seemingly doing well when things are good. It's like the old thing that Warren Buffett said, it's not until the tide goes out you see who's been swimming naked. So you can see the ones that are full of it, right?
Love that.
Here's the truth. If you are doing under $1 million in your business and you are not spending 80% of your time selling, then you are kidding yourself. So I think where people go wrong is the same as they go wrong any other time, is they get fancy. They put, they make the creativity. Oh, I'm creative. What I call most people on that is, no, you're being really creative because you don't want to get on the phone and sell your product. You know, like it's the people that I find that are most successful that I consult understand and love the fact that selling's helping people. You know what I mean? They understand that it's the lifeblood of the business. You can't affect. So if you're looking at your balance sheet and you're looking at your accounting, you know, that top line, which is sales or revenue, they change it to revenue because of the negativity around sales, right? It's crazy. Well, that's what I've heard anyway. I don't know how true that is, but hey, look, it's a good anecdote. You can't change anything below that until you change the top. You can't change the bottom line without changing the top line. So, you know, where people are going wrong is they're not hitting the lists hard enough. They're not selling. They're not finding ways to, you know, convince people that they need their products. You know, so you've got to go out and provide massive value to your audience, to your clients, you know, and go out and help them. So that's one thing. And then I guess the other thing is, you know, in the consulting space and, you know, making it all about yourself. You know, like my success has come from raising other people up, and it's I'm in the industry, and I think that there's a lot of ego at times. So I think that, you know, understanding that, you know, if I raise my clients up to be independent of me and they go do really well, that's better advertising than me saying, hey, look, these people are doing really well because of me. Hey, they came and did my program. They're doing so well because of me. I think that's garbage. And I think that's where people in these times in the economic downturn, specifically for consultants, like, I'm not saying testimonials and all that aren't amazing and everything like that, but you know, I think that right now I'm happy and proud that I've got people singing my praises that have helped me. And, you know, people are coming to me going, hey, I need your help too. I know you help this person. And I think, and I'm never short of clients. So that plus selling, like, you just got to get out there and sell. And if I deliberately say it in a really powerful way of saying selling, because I want people to be triggered by it, because if that triggers you, then go get help. If you have got a negative connotation around selling right now, you are never going to be successful in business. You have to be willing to go out into the market. You need to be sold on your own products so hard that no one could ever convince you that you're not the best in the world at it. And then you need to, when you are there, you need to get out and literally sell other people on that idea too, because people don't need to believe your product works. They need to believe you believe it works. And then they're just going to jump in, because it's like money flows to certainty. So get certain. So I don't know, like that's what I'm seeing. Like, what are you seeing?
Yeah, same thing in terms of, you know, selling. Obviously, it's a major component of business. Without, you know, income, there is no business. So, and one way to do that is, you know, selling. And they, you know, there are certain automation systems that do that. But I think especially with what's happening now, the personal relationships and building that relationship with, you know, with prospects is super important, especially when people are already in a mindset of uncertainty and scarcity and so forth. So nurturing those relationships is really important. And there are different ways of selling. Selling doesn't have to be yucky and sleazy and, you know, hard sell kind of thing. There's always different approaches, and it's always something that has to be aligned to that individual person based on what they're selling. But absolutely about having that self-belief and certainty within your own product, because at the end of the day, would you buy what you sell? And if yourself was selling to yourself and they were coming across with ums, ahs and buts and all of those sort of words, then you probably wouldn't buy into buying what that product is. So I think congruency with integrity is definitely up there, especially for me. My beliefs are that. So that's what I teach with people that work for me. So absolutely.
Fantastic. That was a good bookend there. Amazing. I love it.
So, Joel, tell me, I'm hearing a lot about contingency plans and businesses having to implement a contingency plan. Can you tell me what, for the listeners, what is a contingency plan and how does one actually incorporate that in their business?
Well, like for me, contingency plans were got as advanced as like if someone was to leave my store, I had people that could do their job. I made sure that people weren't indispensable, including myself. And, because then people can't really hold too much over your head then. So I was playing defense then. Contingency plans could range like from what would happen if, I couldn't open my restaurant anymore. Well, my contingency plan would be to go all in on Uber Eats, so Uber could deliver my food, or, could I contact, local businesses, like other local businesses that are doing well, and get them to help sponsor people for food, to come buy stuff. A contingency plan could be how much cash do you have in the bank and how long can you survive without, needing exterior help, so they were pretty much my contingency plans and what I would be doing. And it just comes back to what that mentor of mine said, is just having that buffer zone. And it's brilliant because, with things going, when things have gone crazy, and they have for me in the past, like cash flow can be a really, really crazy thing. You'd be doing all these sales. You could be, having all this profit on paper, but if you don't have the cash in the bank, well, look, you can't spend sales. You can't spend like profit. You can only spend cash. So if you don't have any cash in the bank, well, all that awesome stuff in your zero file doesn't mean a thing. So like they're the contingency plans I'd have. Obviously there'd be other ones out there that people are using to get grants from the government and, really to pivot and stuff like that. So like that, they're the main ones, like it's sort of like a what if situation. And to be honest right now, I think a lot of, like at the time of recording this, I think the contingency plan might be plan A at the moment for a lot of businesses. And, I don't think they had a contingency plan for this. Like, how could they?
Yeah.
So, it comes down to that black swan, coming in, and that's just in a business term, like just that's something that that blindsides you. So I didn't spend a lot of time on them, to be honest. I just made sure that what am I going to need in the case of a disaster? Well, a lot of cash. So before, like one of the suggestions I have with my clients, because they tend to get their businesses going pretty quickly, like when they're working with myself, and obviously you get the same thing, is I really just hammer home the fact that, hey, listen, it's not time to get fancy. You're not looking at Bentleys yet. Put that in a bank account, because we could be making a terrific mistake here somewhere. And there's nothing that fixes a mistake in business better than money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Something could happen, like a law like a government could pass a different law. Like some people that are in Facebook advertising, Facebook changes the algorithm and destroys their business. Like it's crazy. Like here's a great example of a contingency plan. Amazon right now has just halved their commissions for people selling on their platform. Halved it. So even more in some cases. So like some product lines, you're only making 1%. So it's crazy, right? So a contingency plan would be, well, I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket with Amazon. I'm also got affiliate links direct with the companies that I'm selling on Amazon. Maybe I've got my own stuff over here. Maybe I've got my own portfolio over here of different stuff that, is not attached to this business. The 40-40-20 is a contingency plan. You know what I mean? A great investment would be not to go broke. So, that's me. Like, I don't know. What have you got? What have you seen?
Yeah, exactly what you've just said. And I think, I've heard that if for financial cash flow is to have at least 6 months of your income in the bank in case there is something like this that does happen, to be able to have that buffer. So exactly what you said. So we talked about selling earlier. What are your thoughts on lowering the quality of programs just to make a quick buck? Or is there a strategy that you can build to be able to do this? Because I have seen a lot of businesses owners that are struggling with income. So they're lowering the pricing of their products in order to get that money in. And I can see that as one perspective. However, I believe that can also lower the standard or the quality of that product as well. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
I would never, ever, ever, ever lower the quality of my product, ever. Like, I can't think of a reason why I would ever do that. I would lower the price because that's just good business. If some, like half of the usual amount is better than none of the usual amount.
Absolutely.
So, like, I totally believe in that. If and sometimes you got to get scrappy. You got to do what you got to do. Like, and let's be honest, in the marketplace, if people aren't paying full price for your product anymore because times are tough, the market has decided that it's worth half. So that doesn't mean like that it has to stay there forever. So yeah, I would never lower the quality. I'd never lower the standard. I would lower the price if I had to. And the other thing you could do is, why can't people throw more bonuses in?
Yeah.
Like like if I had an online program that usually sold for $1,000, well, what if, and that was it? It was on an online program and it was really great. Well, why couldn't I put like my time in there? Like, I could add time in there that's valued at, it could be thousands of dollars an hour to work with people like you and I. And like that would be a bonus that could get people over the line and actually buying your product and getting them into your ecosystem. And, if you treat those clients well now, they will remember you for life.
Yeah.
But if they feel like they're getting the home brand version of what you usually do, or the skeleton of it, man, they're going to remember you for life and they'll never shop with you again. Like play the long game. Play the long game and just realize that, your quality, man, if you could, as a business coach, if I can help save businesses right now and support businesses through this time, what are they going to do? They're going to be so grateful, and, can you save them more? Maybe not, but swing the bat, So like, no, I would, people that lower the quality of their product, I think they're making it all about themselves instead of what's in it for this client. Like, I have many clients that have clients, like I've got bookkeepers and people like that. And they've had people that say, look, I just can't physically pay you anymore. And they're like, well, can we slow it down? Can we, all that stuff. And they still want that personal contact though. I just don't want to give up our meeting. So like, it's because those bookkeepers have given such amazing personal service that they're retaining their clients. So like, wouldn't you like to lower your price now, give even better service than you normally would, and then keep them for the next 10 years? I would. That's lifetime value of the customer, and that's going to far outweigh the short term. So that's my theory on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think also looking at, extended payment plan options as well, if people aren't in a position to pay up front or pay large quantities off on a shorter period of time. So there are many other options in being able to still provide the same service at the same value but just delivering it in, in different ways to be able to do so. So tell me, what's the downfall for most business owners that are building a business and not making any money? I know we spoke about this earlier, but I know that, strategy is one aspect of it, and then mindset is another aspect of it. So can you tell me more about that?
Well, look, what I've found is strategy can be found on Google. It's like I spend very little time working on strategy because, in a lot of businesses, it's not, you're going in there and like, I'm not an expert in all the industries I go into. I'm an expert in, helping businesses put together better systems that create more income, more freedom, more everything like that. So it's usually a mindset block, and I go back to the story before of like picturing the CEO who won't let someone else do that work, or, like she's always done that job, and so that's why it's done that way. Well, maybe it's, the mindset around not wanting to hire people into it. I've had clients that, when I suggested that they bring on consultants underneath them and give the consultant like at least half the proportion of the fee that the company gets, like pay them really well, I think that, and they bark at that. They're like, no. And I'm like, well, why would you not do that? And they say, well, like I usually earn all that money. I'm used to getting all that money. I'm saying, but you're doing none of the work. They just can't, they can't get around it. So it is, there's a huge part about the mindset. So I guess around, you asked about, businesses that are like building income and not making income. Well, I think it's just that they get fancy early. They think that things that should come 12th in the list of things that you need to do should come first, like you've spoken to me about this a lot off air, but you don't need pretty branding shots on day one. You don't need a business card. You don't need a website day one. You don't need all that stuff because you like there's no barrier of entry for a lot of industries these days. The internet's changed that, let's use coaching and consulting. I literally just have to change my Facebook banner and I'm in a totally new industry. I'm a coach, and people spend all this time on what acronym they're going to use as what type of coach they are. You go on, like there's business coaches, there's like all like, mindset coaches, like I kind of like, wellness coach, like all these different things, right? When realistically they should be out there knocking on doors. They go spend all this money on retreats. They spend all their money on all these things that they, instead of getting to work, they do everything other than the thing they need to do. And that's to start going out and making sales. Because if you got this brilliant idea, right, as a consultant, sell the promise. Don't go create this amazing product. And that's what people do because they're frightened of selling. Like I could, and I'm so confident on this because I see it so much. They're not creative. I get people saying, oh, look, I don't know which way I want to go because they've done NLP, they've done hypnosis, they've done Reiki, they've done, a business course, they've done all this stuff and they just want to do all these things. And I'm just like, for God's sake, just pick one. You just got to pick one. Pick one. And they're like, oh, well, I don't know which one. I'm like, well, like, then you're not going to make any money because you can't do them all. Where's your niche? Like, who are you going to help? What's the problem that you're solving for them? What's the gap? So here's some techniques that I use. Like it's like, you just got to pick who you're helping. You just got to pick who you're helping. Okay. So what problem is that group of people having? Now, what product are you going to put at the front end of your business to sell them that's going to solve that problem? And the fourth part is, how are you going to persuade them to buy your solution? So in there, you got to put a price on it. And that's easy because like you don't need to spend a whole heap of time on that. You just need to go look at what your competitors are doing, because I guarantee you are not the only business coach on the planet. You're not the only intuitive coach on the planet. There's some, or breathwork coach or whatever's happening, right? It's all good. No judgment there. but you got to start with something. You got to get them in the front end, because if you can't do that, and then you got to sell it. So if you've got a 6-week program starting in a month's time, don't do the content until you've sold enough people into it to warrant that the market actually wants it. You know what I mean? And then that way, as you're selling it, you're getting paid to create the content, because you know you've got the skills. You know you've got the skills. You know you're going to deliver the best possible thing that you can ever deliver for someone. And you know that's my answer to the small end. And the same thing, if you're moving into the $500,000 to the $1 million section, well, is what you're doing scalable, and can you automate it? And at the end of the day, it goes back to step one. You got to keep selling beyond the $1 million mark before you can actually look at starting to do something else in a different proportion. You know, like that's my thing. It's just sell. It's like
fantastic. Thanks so much, Joel. That's been some real golden nuggets in there, I think, today for today's talk. So much that we've covered, and I'm sure that the listeners will definitely get something out of it. Also, there's a resource tool that is available called the follow-up tool. Are you able to just quickly explain that?
Yes. That is a tremendous segue, actually, because one of the things Grant Cardone taught me, and I was actually a car salesman for a while. So I'm pretty embarrassed about that, but it's a noble job. You learn to get thick skin really quickly. So he actually said, like, if you don't like sales and you think it's sleazy, you think it's all these things, you know, the negative things that people go on about. And for the ones that have been triggered by what I just said about sell, this is for you. If you are not amazing at sales and you've got no interest in becoming great at sales, then you must become a beast at follow-up. I ended up topping the sales at my at the car yard that I was working at, simply because I would follow up more than anyone else. So where most people would follow up 5 times, I would follow up until, tongue in cheek, I would get a restraining order. So it's literally, the fortune really is in the follow-up. So if you can take amazing notes and you can be a bit creative about how you follow up, and you can't follow up too much. You're never going to ruin a sale because you followed up too much. So, so long as you don't have commission breath. If you're only ringing up and you're like, hey, you want to buy the car? That's no good. A better way would be to know enough about the person to know that they're interested in blue heelers, and then maybe send them an article about blue heelers. So something like that. Hey, I was thinking about it the other day, like, because who does that? No one. But you now. Now, here's how you do it. You just take that tool and you see the times of the month that it's telling you to follow up. You make sure you touch point the customer or the potential client. And even after you've got the client and they've said yes, you still follow up using this tool. And you find creative ways to help them even more and to care about them, because they will, like, when it comes time to buying, if you follow up using that strategy, they're going to come to you. And I can tell you right now, someone else's Facebook ads trigger people that they need coaching. And because I've used an amazing follow-up system, they get triggered by someone else and then they come to me because I've got the trust.
Yeah.
It's that simple. So follow up like a boss. If you can do both, your $1 million is going to be easy.
So just to close it off, follow up like a boss, sell with integrity, and make loads of money, I guess.
Hey, the world's going to be a better place if you're rich. You can help more people. Your birthright. Go for it.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Joel. I really enjoyed this chat. It's been really wonderful.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. Remember to be bold, be brave, have fun. My name's Maria Van Vuklis from The Conscious CEO. Till next time, bye for now.